uh, the material. I forgot if it came through my agent, but it came to me first.
In
And
Hollywood, where fame often burns fast and dies young, few stars have carried the weight of greatness across decades. But Denzel Washington is no ordinary star. He is a force, a presence, a symbol of power and dignity. From the troubled streets of Mount Vernon, New York, to the glittering stages of the Academy Awards, his journey is one of resilience, faith, and unshakable discipline. Behind the commanding roles and award-winning performances lies a story of a boy shaped by hardship, threatened by failure, yet destined to rise. He broke barriers, redefined what it means to be a leading man, and built a legacy that transcends Hollywood. But how did Denzel Washington defy the odds and transform into a living legend? This is the untold story of his rise, struggles, and ultimate triumph. Denzel Hayes Washington Jr. was born on December 28, 1954, in Mount Vernon, New York, a small working-class city just outside New York City. His father, Reverend Denzel Washington Sr., was a Pentecostal minister, a man of quiet discipline and unwavering faith. His mother, Lennis, owned and managed a beauty parlor, juggling long hours of work with the demands of raising 3 children. At first, life seemed stable, structured by faith and family. But when Denzel was just 14, everything changed. His parents divorced, shattering the foundation of his home. The split left emotional scars, and the teenager found himself drifting into dangerous circles. Mount Vernon in the 1960s was not a gentle place, and young Denzel was on the edge of trouble. Sensing the risk, his mother made a radical decision. She sent him to a private military academy in upstate New York. It was there that discipline and order replaced chaos. In that rigid environment, he discovered not only structure, but also resilience. The idea that no matter how hard life pressed against him, he could rise above it. Those difficult early years would shape his character forever. The pain of broken family ties, the strict lessons of military life, and the steady hand of his mother built the foundation of a man who would one day stand tall against the pressures of Hollywood. After surviving the turbulence of his teenage years, Denzel Washington set his sights on a future that at first had nothing to do with Hollywood. He enrolled at Fordham University, majoring in journalism, hoping to craft stories through words rather than performance. But fate intervened. During a summer job at a YMCA camp, a fellow counselor noticed Denzel's natural charisma and suggested he try acting. That single comment changed the course of his life. Returning to Fordham, Denzel threw himself into theater. On stage, he found his voice. Professors marveled at his deep intensity and commanding presence, rare qualities for someone so young. Determined to hone his skills, he continued his studies at the American Conservatory Theater in San Francisco, immersing himself in classical training and stagecraft. By the early 1980s, Denzel began landing roles on television and stage. He appeared in small productions, earning just enough attention to keep his dream alive. His true break came in 1982, when he was cast as Dr. Philip Chandler on the NBC medical drama St. Elsewhere. For 6 seasons, he played the intelligent, compassionate physician, quietly building a reputation for depth and authenticity. Though not yet a household name, Hollywood insiders were taking notice. Denzel Washington was no longer just a young man with potential. He was an actor on the rise, one step away from the roles that would make him unforgettable. Denzel Washington's first true leap into cinematic greatness came in 1987, when he portrayed South African activist Steve Biko in Cry Freedom. The performance was raw, emotional, and fearless. It earned him his first Academy Award nomination and signaled to Hollywood that a powerful new voice had arrived. 2 years later, in 1989, he reached another milestone with Glory, playing Private Tripp, a defiant ex-slave turned soldier in the Union Army. Denzel delivered one of the most searing performances of his career. The unforgettable image of him standing, eyes blazing, as a whip tore across his back, remains etched in film history. That role won him the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. Denzel Washington was no longer just promising, he was undeniable. The 1990s solidified his reign. His transformative portrayal of Malcolm X in Spike Lee's 1992 masterpiece became a career-defining performance. Denzel embodied the civil rights leader with such conviction that many felt they were watching history itself unfold on screen. The role earned him yet another Oscar nomination and established him as one of the most commanding actors of his generation. From Philadelphia alongside Tom Hanks to The Hurricane, where he played boxer Reuben Carter, Denzel consistently delivered roles layered with intensity, humanity, and power. In 2001, he shocked audiences with Training Day. As corrupt detective Alonzo Harris, he gave a performance both terrifying and magnetic, winning the Academy Award for Best Actor. With that victory, Denzel became only the second black actor in history to claim the honor, shattering barriers that had stood for decades. By the early 2000s, Denzel Washington had become more than an actor. He was a global icon, a box office powerhouse, a two-time Oscar winner, and a symbol of what greatness looks like when talent, discipline, and purpose collide. Even the brightest stars cast shadows, and Denzel Washington was no exception. Throughout his career, he carefully protected his private life, but the tabloids never stopped circling. Rumors of infidelity followed him for decades, with gossip magazines speculating about cracks in his marriage to Pauletta Pearson, the woman he wed in 1983. Yet Denzel never allowed the speculation to define him. He refused to engage, never confirming nor denying, and instead leaned on faith and discretion to keep his personal life out of Hollywood's spotlight. But the greatest challenges of his career did not come from gossip. They came from Hollywood itself. As one of the few black actors to reach A-list status in the 1980s and 1990s, Denzel faced enormous pressure. Studios often offered him stereotypical roles that diminished African-American men to caricatures. Denzel, however, took a stand. He turned down roles he considered degrading, refusing to compromise his principles for a paycheck. This resistance came with consequences. Saying no to powerful studios meant fewer opportunities, yet it also built his reputation as an actor of integrity, a man unwilling to sacrifice dignity for fame. Audiences respected him for it, and his career became a beacon for younger black actors navigating the same obstacles. Still, the weight of representation was heavy. Every role he took carried expectations, not only to entertain, but to uplift, to challenge Hollywood's racial boundaries, to show that a black leading man could be as complex, as commanding, and as universal as any of his white counterparts. In an industry eager to exploit scandal, Denzel Washington stood apart. His challenges were real, his battles unrelenting, but his resolve never cracked. If anything, the storms only made his presence stronger. As time passed, Denzel Washington shifted from Hollywood's leading man to something even more powerful, a mentor, a statesman, and a symbol of endurance. While many actors fade with age, Denzel chose reinvention. On screen, he embraced a new wave of roles that reintroduced him to younger audiences. The Equalizer franchise proved that even in his 60s, he could command action cinema with the same intensity that once defined his early career. Audiences saw not just an actor, but a force of nature, calm, calculated, and unshakably strong. Behind the camera, Denzel expanded his artistry as a director. His work on Fences 2016 earned critical acclaim, securing 4 Academy Award nominations, including Best Picture. With each project, he demonstrated that his vision extended far beyond acting, giving voice to powerful stories rooted in humanity, family, and resilience. But his greatest reinvention came through his influence off-screen. He became a mentor to rising stars like Chadwick Boseman and Michael B. Jordan, passing down lessons about faith, discipline, and excellence. Beyond Hollywood, Denzel quietly invested in education and community initiatives, often funding scholarships and youth programs without seeking attention. By reinventing himself, Denzel Washington showed the world that his legacy was not confined to the past. He was no longer just a star. He had become a guide, a builder, and a leader whose influence stretched far beyond the silver screen. Today, Denzel Washington stands as one of the greatest actors in cinematic history. With 2 Academy Awards, countless nominations, and more than 4 decades of unforgettable performances, he has secured his place not only in Hollywood, but in the cultural fabric of America. His legacy, however, extends far beyond trophies and box office numbers. For aspiring actors, especially young black performers, Denzel became proof that dignity, discipline, and excellence could overcome systemic barriers. He redefined what it meant to be a leading man, commanding respect not by scandal or spectacle, but by sheer talent and integrity. Off-screen, his philanthropy and mentorship have touched lives in ways the cameras never captured. From scholarships to quiet acts of generosity, his influence continues to ripple far beyond the stage and screen. The journey of Denzel Washington proves that greatness is not measured solely by awards, but by the lives you inspire, the obstacles you break, and the hope you leave behind. So we ask, what do you believe is his greatest legacy? Like, share, and subscribe for more untold Hollywood stories.